Okay guys, so about a year and a half ago, I made a video titled "The Trans Community Going Too Far for 20 Minutes Straight." On my channel, I like to call out communities and groups of people who have crazy beliefs, who don't take accountability for their actions, who always blaming someone else. Unfortunately, as a black man, I have to say that black people have to be like top 3 of one of those groups. Maturing is realizing that Uncle Ruckus was kind of spitting though. Uncle Ruckus was a character in this one black cartoon called The Boondocks, right? And he was a black man who basically hated black people. Now obviously it was like a caricature and it was supposed to be funny and he's supposed to like have self-hatred, but they always had an element of truth to his character. Yes, he had crazy takes. Yes, he genuinely hated himself and black people, but there were also times where he said stuff about black people and it was like, this guy's spitting facts. The best type of comedy has truth to it. And the truth is that the way that we think, and I say we, I'm not involved, the way that black people think as a community is so deranged. It lacks so much accountability, and they are always blaming other people, especially white people, even for their own actions. Black people will commit a crime, get caught for the crime, and then say, the only reason I got caught is because I'm black. You're always watching over me. We're always on the news for our crimes. Where's the news for the white people? But if you never committed a crime in the first place, there would be no news for you. I have never been stopped by the police. I have never had any issue with the police. I ain't never been on the news for a crime. Never been arrested. Do you know why? Because I don't commit crimes. Black people are so obsessed with the idea that they are discriminated against, that white privilege, racism, systemic racism. A lot of black people are so obsessed is the only word I can use, with this idea that they disregard their own actions that would cause them to have issues with the police, with the justice system, or just issues in general. They disregard the things that they do specifically that make them look a certain way. The truth is that black people are exceedingly ignorant and have to be the most emotional group of humans who are so obsessed with their feelings and how things make them feel more than facts. You can give niggas a straight fact, and instead of even taking on the fact that this may be the reason why we're seen a certain way, maybe it's because we got our woman on social media shaking their ass, maybe that's why they fail every time to take any accountability for their actions. Whether it's the men or the woman, both sides terrible at taking accountability. I'm tired of it. You got black women being aggressive, being loud, being fat, coming out saying, oh, it's just a narrative. It's not just a narrative. Majority of you are like that. It's not a narrative. Not only are you like that in real life, but you are like that on TV. And you guys even take roles in movies where you play these characters. You guys permeate this narrative yourself and act like that in real life. And then you want to say, it's just a narrative. I hate the word narrative. It's so overused. Only say something's a narrative if it's not true. If it has truth to it, it's no longer a narrative, it's an observation. If you say, oh, there's this narrative that, I can't say the word, I'll actually get my video taken down. Certain people run the world and they make all the money and they have like someone West says, okay? And that's just a narrative. You can only say it's just a narrative when it's not true. But guess what? What that boy West says is true, okay? Sorry, those people do run the world, okay? So it's not a narrative. But guess what? There's a lot of people, black people would hear what I just said about those boys right there, and they would say, oh my gosh, that's so true. But when it comes to some time to do some self-fucking reflection and talk about yourself, you don't want to hear it. If I say, nah, a lot of white people, they don't wash themselves properly, they shower with just their hands and whatever, you guys will clap, 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 clap. You love it. Black people love laughing at other groups of people. But when it comes to some self-accountability, everyone starts to turn off their ears. They don't want to hear it anymore. We got black men, aggressive, violent towards themselves and others, overly emotional. Guess what? It's just a narrative. We're not all like that. But then you make songs where you talk about how violent you are. You talk about the crimes you commit. Push this quote unquote narrative that that's how you are. And then you want to play the victim where people treat you as such. If you have any type of self-accountability, self-reflection as to why your people may be seen a certain way, they will tell you that, oh, that's just because you don't relate to the black struggle. I'm black. Like, I could get it if I was light skinned, I had one green eye, one blue eye. The world sees a black man. So when I'm speaking from a black man perspective. Stop telling me just because I disagree with what you say that I am less black. That is so ignorant. In fact, I'm going to come up with a new word for black ignorance. We're going to call it nignorance. That's how it's surpassed ignorance. It's nignorance. They got their own ignorance where it's like blinding to any sense. Like let me just ignore all facts on earth, yeah, and just blindly support black people. We're going to call it ignorance. That's the new term from now.
At what point will the blacks stop begging and blaming?
Begging?
And blaming.
Who's begging?
The blacks.
I don't know who's begging.
What
are they begging for?
Reparations?
Arguing that we deserve reparations and affirmative action?
When will they stop begging?
When you give it to us.
And what is it that you want?
I want reparations. I want my money.
You want money?
Yes.
Your money.
I'm a foundational black American. I want money for what my ancestors went through.
And how much do you want?
You could give me, I'll speak for myself. I think give me between 300,000 to $1 million.
You personally want 300,000 to $1 million
yes.
of your reparation money.
Right.
And what did you do to earn that money?
I was born, and I come from the lineage of black American slaves. And
ignorance. Ignorance at its highest degree. The guy wants 300 grand to $1 million for something he never even went through himself. It's crazy. It's mind-blowing. The guy sits there in a suit with a fresh trim, probably makes good money, holding a book that he published himself in the same America he complains about. A successful black man asking for hundreds of thousands of dollars because apparently he's being held back because of slavery. This is a perfect place to start. Slavery. Let's start with slavery. As a black man, I was raised by my mom, because most of us are raised by single moms. And when you're raised like that, your brain is infiltrated to believe certain things. Growing up, I would have agreed with him. We just deserve money. I remember the first time my mom told me about what reparations was, and I was like, yeah, we should get that, because I was young and dumb. Slavery has happened to every group of people in history. We are the only ones who are so hung up on this shit all the time. Slavery was never even about race. The way that slavery even originated is from black people selling black people to other black people for money. There's nothing racist about that. The reason why black people are so obsessed with the slavery, the African American slavery, is because they believe that the reason it happened is just because they're black. But that actually isn't true in of itself. The truth is that slavery never had anything really to do with race. It was always about financial gain and money, which is a human nature problem, not a white people problem or a black people problem or an Asian people problem. When humans find a way to exploit other humans for personal gain, they will do it, and that's what happened. And the reason why there was a loophole, there was a gap in the market to even do what white people did to my people, is because we allowed it in the first place. Up until quite recently, I really did believe that white people just came and raided my people and then dashed them on a boat. But that's not what happened. They were sold by other niggas. To even say that slavery is racist is similar to saying that sex trafficking is sexist. It's not sexist. It's not because you're a woman. It's because it's financially rewarding to do so. If it was financially rewarding to kidnap men and sell them, they would do that as well. But sexuality from a woman is more valuable. That's why they do it to young women. Of course, it's a disgusting thing to do. I'm not defending these things. I'm trying to say from a logical standpoint, I'm trying to mediate a logical conversation here that is not just about feelings. African Americans are not owed money because of slavery that happened to people that are not even them. There's no black man alive who was enslaved. You never even met a slave. Past that, like I said already, the guy is holding a book he published in America, wearing a black suit, using the freedom, exploiting the freedom of speech like they have in America to write a book that's titled Black Supremacy. And then he's gonna talk about white supremacy. I talk about how there's so many barriers for him to win as a black man whilst he sits there as a successful black man.
Why is it that black men such as yourself don't feel embarrassed publicly complaining about white men and how they're holding you back? And you got all these excuses. Normal men don't have excuses.
That's funny, normal men. I would love to hear your explanation of normal men.
Men who are not like women.
It is very feminine for you to be making all these excuses for your life situation instead of taking accountability, being a man, pulling yourself up, lacing your boots or whatever, and getting to work and changing your life. In Western society, there's no reason why you can't be successful as a black man. You being black is not holding you back from getting in shape, from making money, from being interesting, from learning new things, from traveling, from becoming well versed in a high income skill. None of those things are not accessible to you because of the color of your skin.
I want you to acknowledge this. Well, you asked why black people aren't, like, the reason why there's not as many black people in universities is because they're not applying. But then we have to see as like, why are they not applying? So I feel like they lack, like minorities in this country lack a lot of resources. Like it's definitely possible. Like we've seen it happen. Like, I mean, that's why I'm here, right? But it's not as easy as it is for like, you know, some white people.
Can I ask you 3 quick questions? You graduated high school, right? Yes. You don't yet have a kid, I'm guessing? No. Okay. And do you have a job of some sort? Okay. So you, based on those 3 great choices, are nearly guaranteed to not live in poverty in America. That has nothing to do with skin color. That has nothing to do with racism. I'm making good choices. You are an example of why America is the greatest country in the history of the world.
Why don't you black? How come you don't believe white privilege exists? What you see?
Well, because I am black in color, but I don't have that dark mentality that most black people have.
Clearly.
I see, she said clearly, I see that white people have the same struggles and things that we have in that.
What type of
they have
struggles
to
do they
make their
have?
marriages work. They have to make their children, help their kids grow up in the right way so that they can earn a living and be independent.
But they also have the majority of their
make
fathers
kids,
at home.
Right, and the reason for that, it's starting to change somewhat now, but the reason for that is because they are taking responsibility for that, whereas black men and women are not taking responsibility for that, as they did prior to the civil rights movement. Black people are blaming it on their lack of self-control and self-containment. They're blaming it on white people, while white people are working hard to keep it going.
White people do have a privilege to an extent, but all people have a privilege. There's such, black people have a privilege, white people have a privilege, Asian people have a privilege, because different people are perceived differently in different scenarios. If you walk into a certain scenario as a black man, you would be more privileged than a white man in that scenario. White people on an individualistic level are not privileged. You can't pick up 10 white men who are 23 years old like myself and they are more privileged than myself. Not necessarily. That one guy, he had a broken home. The other guy, his dad's an alcoholic. The other guy, he didn't finish secondary school and he got stabbed and he was in a gang. This idea that white people are privileged compared to black people is, once again, it's a victim mentality. It's an excuse to not change your life. It's an excuse to not do things that are necessary to improve yourself, because you already come into the world with this mindset that you can't win or your life is going to be significantly harder because you're black. You may find it harder to fit into certain places because you're black. Yes, in the corporate world, there may be less of you. You may fit in less, whatever. But as a whole, you pick up 10 white average men and you pick up 10 black average men, the white men are not necessarily more privileged than the black men. If white people have a privilege because they are more likely to have both their parents in the household, then that is black people's fault for not keeping their family together. White people didn't separate black family. That's some nonsense.
When people are like, there's no racism in London or stuff like that, let me educate you a tiny bit on like the subtle racism that is in London daily, right? I live in quite a, it's kind of like, it's a posh area, right? There's a lot of rich white people, cool. So like one time I'm walking, cool, I'm bopping to like, I'm at the gym, I wear tracksuits a lot, I'm in full tracksuit. There's a lady and her son in front of me, right? She looks back, sees me, brings her son closer to her. That shit got my head fucked up because she's seen me and that's given her, like that scared her. Like it scared her enough to hold her son closer, like, because she looked at me and perceived me as a threat. A potential threat, not a threat, a potential threat. She was like, so much so that she just had to hold her son. And I know I know she did it because of me. She looked at me, looked again and done it.
Okay, cool. Let's go along with his story. The woman's walking past him with her son. She's seen him. She held her kid closer to herself because she was scared of him, because she's racist or because he's black. What you got to understand is, there's a multitude of reasons. There's a multitude of reasons as to why a woman could cross the road because she sees a man, or hold her kid closer because she sees you, or there's a multitude of reasons. The issue is, like I said earlier in the video when I'm talking about the black victim mentality and the ignorance, is that your mind is always looking for a time where racism has occurred. My mind used to do this as well. My mind used to go, oh, this happened because racism. That was my automatic response. And I hate the term race card. And I'm not even saying he always does that. But I'm saying when you believe in something so strongly, yeah, that the world is so racist and white people are so against you, you find it. When you believe something, you'll always find it. If you believe that everyone's after you Anytime someone looks at you, it's like, oh, he's after me. Because that's your belief system. You almost manifest it to be true. There's so many reasons as to why she could have held her son next to him that isn't just because he's black. I'll give you a rebuttal for this. If you was wearing a suit, yeah, and was freshly shaven, and you look like you just came from a business meeting with a briefcase, would she have held you? Would she have held her son closer? Am I saying that that's right? I'm not saying it's right, but what I'm trying to say is that, like I said earlier in the video, the way that people perceive you based on your skin color, the way you dress, the way you walk, your build, your height, your hair, your eye color, everything about you, people will perceive you differently. There's such a multitude of reasons past your skin tone. The skin tone obsession of black people, of the race obsession, is so low vibrational and unintelligent. That's why I call it ignorance. You're so ignorant to the world. There's so many reasons as to why. If I see a woman speeding up in front of me when I'm walking towards her, yeah, my first thought isn't, oh, it's because I'm a black man. It's because I'm a man. That's the third thing. It could be because I'm a man. Or it could be she's speeding up because she's a woman. She's a woman outside late night. So anyone's a threat to her. This woman is in a vulnerable situation where she's with her son. She's in a vulnerable situation where she needs to protect her and her child. And she sees somebody who may look like a criminal because they're wearing a tracksuit, because maybe it is because they're black. But even that, to an extent, is pattern recognition, because like I said earlier in the video, we portray ourselves a certain way in the media. Not the media. We do. We come on songs saying that we do this, that, and the other, and we wear tracksuits and we wear balaclavas. We do that because we think it's wavy. That's why I said if he was wearing a suit, even if he's black, if he was wearing a suit or he was dressed a certain way, even the suit is an extreme to prove my point. If he was dressed a certain way, she may have not even pulled them together. He even said he was wearing a tracksuit. I'm not saying he shouldn't be able to wear a tracksuit, but I'm saying that certain clothes, certain aesthetics, certain things are associated with certain things. And a lot of the times, it's our fault for doing that. It's our fault for doing that. So now it's our job to prove them wrong. I don't care if white people assume that I'm a criminal, which doesn't happen because I don't dress like a criminal. I'm so clearly not niggerish. So I don't get treated niggerish. Even though I'm big and black, I'm not niggerish. People can take one glance and be like, all right, he's not one of those niggas. Okay, he's not one of those. I don't get treated that way. I'm not saying he deserved to be treated that way. And I'm not even saying that she was necessarily racist or not, but what I'm trying to say is that the mindset of looking for racism, you will always find it. That's my main point. You'll always find it.
Black people sold black people, white people just paid for it. My great-great-grandmother was sold by her father to another black man, who then sold her to who became her husband and had kids. Not a white person in sight. Well, so while people are being stuck on, especially when I hear this dumbass thing as reparations for slavery, I'm like, dude, slavery was everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
There was slavery in the Arab world, in the Persian world, in the Greek world, in Europe. White, blonde, blue-eyed Polish people were slaves to Germans. So white, blonde, blue-eyed Germans. So what are you talking about? Like slavery is something that only black... You guys pay too much respect to racism.
Yeah.
If we were all white or we were all black, we're still going to discriminate against each other.
You know what we discriminate against? Eye color.
Thank you very much.
It's human nature.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
We'll find something, oh, your ear is too big. I tell people, as long as you're a competition, you're a threat. And as long as you're a threat, somebody will try to do something to remove you. It doesn't matter if you're white or black. And on the opposite side, as long as you can add value, doesn't matter if you're black or if you're white, you will be appreciated or recognized.
Everything this guy's saying is so facts. He said one line that literally summarizes everything I said in this video. Black people pay too much respect to racism. They think everything that goes wrong in their life is racism. They pay it too much mind. It's too powerful to them. I would never come out here and say racism doesn't exist. I would never come out here and say white privilege doesn't exist. But it is so much less powerful than you think. If you are talented, if you are exceptional at something, if you are intelligent, if you have something worth saying, if you dress nicely and walk nicely and smell good, people will gravitate towards you, regardless of if you're white, black, fucking Asian. I have had no issues with women of any race. dealing with men of any race. I can't remember the last time I can say, hand on heart, that was racism. I can't even remember it. I'm being deadly serious right now. I've had loads of bad interactions with people. The difference is I'm not looking for racism. I don't give it the power. So if I have a bad interaction with a white person, my mind doesn't automatically go, oh, he's racist. And sometimes it comes up in my mind. But then I'm like, I have to analyze it from a logical perspective. I have to undo the ignorance brainwashing in my mind. Mama's been brainwashed for 20 years. I'm like, wait. He likes the other black person. He's having a perfectly fine interaction with the other black person. He just doesn't like me. Okay, maybe he doesn't like me because of this. You gotta understand, there's so many reasons as to why another human may not like you. Just like this guy said, if we was all one color, we would still find differences. Let's have this anti-tall person thing. Let's have this anti-short person thing. Let's have this anti-long hair thing. Oh, this person's got nose rings. Let's discriminate for the nose rings. There's different tribes in Africa that discriminate against your ear length or how stretched out your ears are. This racism obsession with black people is keeping us down. We think that racism keeping us down. We think that white people are keeping us down, but the majority of the time, it's other black people. Black people keep black people down so much that when black people get some money, the first thing they do is get as far away from black people as they physically and possibly can. If they grew up in an area that's predominantly black and they got some money, they will take their ass to Chelsea and Kensington. They ain't gonna stay living in Peckham. If you're in America, you live in Philly, you live in Philadelphia, you're not gonna stay living in Philadelphia. You're gonna take your ass to Hollywood Hills, where all the white people live, because you know you're fucking safe. Let's be for real here. You love saying how racist white people are. You're racist too, bro, because as soon as you got some money, you get the fuck away from ignorance. That's what you do. You gotta stop paying so much mind and power to racism, believing, life is so hard and so stressful because I'm black, and it's so much harder for me to be successful. If you do the same damn things that white people are supposed to do, if you focus, you make good decisions, put down the alcohol, put down the weed, focus for 1 second, stop running and chasing after women all the time. These are the things we glorify as a community. We go on the TV and people, there's a narrative. It's not a narrative, it's the truth. It's actually the truth. Focus on your fitness. Stop eating like a pig. Stop being gluttonous. Stop being lustful all the time. Focus on a goal for once in your life. Put the alcohol down. How about that? And then when you fail after all of that, then maybe you could say, it's because I'm black. Until then, shut up, bruv, because you've never done anything worth you winning. You're a loser in every way, and you want to excuse all your losses with your skin tone, and that's crazy work. Let's read some comments on this video. The first comment says, "This is too much intelligence for society." Yeah, society can't digest intelligence. Too much for black people to understand. What did I say? It's ignorance. I'm telling you. And devout white liberals. The only thing on level with ignorance is white liberals who love defending black people all the time. They're so fucking annoying, bro. You know the white people that are guilty of being white? They hate the fact that they're white. They can't even be proud in their white shits. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry for what we did. Slavery has existed since the caveman days. Slavery existed on every continent, to every race, gender, religion. The Arabs had the largest and longest slavery that ended in 2007, and no one wants to talk about that. About time someone of color tells the truth of true history. The white European slave trade thrived also. Rich white people selling white people as a business. I always think slavery is less about color and more about wealth.
To me, slavery doesn't affect us today. Only in understanding how it happened and not repeating it, but it don't affect us today. There's nothing stopping me from being on the university full of white people. How am I any different than a white person? Let me tell you this. I want to say this. When people say that black people had a disadvantage in America, and they explore this idea or they exacerbate this idea of white privilege, they're essentially saying black people aren't better or aren't the same as white people. They're saying that black people are less than white people. Because right now, every black person on this campus should understand that there's nothing that a white person can do that you can't do. And if you don't feel that way, you've been tricked.
The point of my channel and the point of me making these videos is that I really care about people knowing the truth. People not being victims, not always feeling sorry for themselves, not always pushing agendas and propaganda about things that just simply aren't true or not the case. Because not only is it annoying, but it doesn't serve any of us any it doesn't serve any of us. It doesn't do any good for any of us to believe we are in a scenario where we can't win because of our skin tone, or it's so much harder to feel like we're fighting a losing battle. Changing your life and improving your life is already hard enough. You don't need that mindset, that loser mindset, that victim mindset holding you back even further. If you're a black person watching this video, you can do anything white people can do. If you're a woman watching this video, you could do anything a man can do. If you want to go and be a construction worker, if you want to go be a plumber, an electrician, you can do everything you do. You probably won't, because you don't want to do that. You only want to do the glamorous things, and then you want to complain about equality. But that's a different video. I've got videos about that anyways. And stop feeling sorry for yourself and stop being a victim, because it doesn't help you or anyone else, and it doesn't help the community. Take responsibility for your actions. Take responsibility for the place that we are in as a community. And that's the only way we're going to improve. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.